my name is Gernot Pauli. I am the Chief Engineer of the Central Commission for the Navigation of the Rhine. Having heard all this presentation, I'm wondering whether I'm actually at the right place. You see it already from the title of my presentation. The Rhine is very small compared to the rivers that were presented. It has only a navigable length of 850 kilometers, so it is just maybe it's not a large river at all. Yeah. I have a short presentation, just 3 topics, a little bit about the characteristics of the Rhine, about our governance structure for the Rhine, and some current activities that might be of interest for you. Here you see the Rhine, these 850 kilometers, located in France, Switzerland, Germany, and Netherlands. As I said, the Rhine is only, according to length, only 125th longest river, so it is not yeah, I looked it up when preparing this presentation, and and we have a low water discharge, which is a problem right now. We have a long period of very low water level. The Rhine is only partly impounded, so we have dams here in the upper part, and they were not built for navigation, as you can imagine. They were built for hydropower. And we heard this morning about convoys of 40 barges. The maximum on the Rhine is 6 barges. Yeah. So it is rather small. Yeah. Here you can get some images. That is the lower part of the Rhine, where we can use 6 barge convoys, and that is the middle part. It's much smaller. We have a castle sitting in the Rhine. Yeah, maybe that is outstanding, and other rivers don't have that. Yeah, and here we are in the Upper Rhine. That is one of the lock complexes, ships coming in and out. Due to time constraints, I do not explain the waterway parameters, but I'm sure you will get the presentation later on, and then you can see. I just want to point out one parameter, that is a bridge height. As you can imagine, in Europe, very densely populated, there are many bridges over the Rhine. And we have managed to keep a bridge height of 9 meters above the highest shipping water level, and that ensures that we can have very successful container transport, because there's always enough heights, and so that we can have 4 or 5 level of containers on the ships. What is special about the Rhine, I think, is its connections to other waterways. As you can see, for example, here, that is the Mosel. It's also an international waterway. The Neckar to Stuttgart, where Mercedes and Porsche comes from. That's a connection to the Danube. We will have a presentation about the Danube later on. But also to the seaports. Rotterdam is the biggest seaport in Europe. Antwerp is number 3. There are some other smaller seaports here. Amsterdam is a very big one. I think it's number 5. So the Rhine actually, and that is very, very particular, is connected to large seaports. It is multi-use. The Rhine has many other rivers, and the most important, of course, is for freight transport. So even the Rhine is a small river. We have 330 million tons per year, which is, I think, it's not bad. We have 2 million toy per year, and when you look at the corridor here, that connects one of the most affluent and productive parts of Europe. 50% of international freight in this corridor is on inland waterways. So when it comes to international transport, inland waterways here on the Rhine can compete with the other modes. Something about governance. As I said, I come from the Central Commission for the Navigation of the Rhine. We are celebrating our 200th birthday this year. So probably not certainly not the longest river, but the one with the oldest international governance structure. This is what you see here. That is the founding document where our government is still based on. That is the Act of Mannheim, and that Act of Mannheim regulates already for more than 150 years our work. And what is most, I think, most important is freedom of navigation and equal treatment of waterway users. Why is that important? I think because it creates competition. If you want to have a good and innovative sector of ship owners, you need competition. And that was why we were able to create this competition between ship owners in different countries. We also have a very strong and uniform regulatory framework for inland navigation. So we make the rules that the skippers have to and the ship owners have to obey with. And we have very high safety and environmental standards. And I think that is one of the prerequisites if you want to make inland navigation sustainable transport system. You need to have very good regulation. So waterway development is not done by us, that is done by the member states. But the member states agree on certain standards so that there are not a kind of discrepancy between different countries in waterway parameters. And what is very important, it was mentioned before, is engagement with stakeholders. And that is something what the CCNR is doing from the very beginning. It's already more than 100 years ago that we had our first, you would maybe call it these days, hearing. So where we presented our work, our regulatory work that we wanted to do in an act, we presented that to the ship owners and asked for their opinion about it. You see here that some of the organizations that we work with regularly, these organizations are invited to come to our meetings, to our working group meetings, to discuss with us our regulation. We ask them to contribute, to make proposals, because we think ship owners know, and very often much better than we do, what could be done and can't be done. So that is one of the important, I would say, success factors of our work. Some of the activities that we are pursuing right now, we are working on new regulation for inland navigation together with the European Union. So we want to harmonize for the whole of Europe important regulations, and especially for vessel design and equipment and crew qualifications. These are the other regulatory work that we are doing, but this is currently in the focus. We are also trying to support the regulatory work with guidelines. And these guidelines, there are two that I want to mention. The International Safety Guide for Inland Navigation, Tank Barges and Terminals. It's mostly about the interface between the ship and the vessel when loading and unloading. And a new project we started, Guidelines for Safe Transport of Containers, because we had some accidents, and those accidents, as you can imagine, when the containers go overboard, they lead to stoppage of navigation. Greening of inland navigation is also one of our core work. what requires very much attention and input right now is to develop some regulatory framework for liquefied natural gas. We have developed a complete set for using LNG. And we are supporting innovation and technologies. What you see here is a ship handling simulator for the Rhine. That is a picture of one of the main ports. It's Duisburg. So we are developing standards for simulators that can be used for training. And we are also working on control elements for crew on board, like the electronic logbook. There is a connection with river information services. Of course, because AIS information are needed for the electronic logbook. And of course, we are continuing to support river information services. And I think that Mr. Boba, you agree that I took your picture in here. Yeah. And I'm sorry that I had to go that fast through my presentation. That is my favorite picture from the Rhine. That is in the middle Rhine. The lower Rhine is just round the corner. And you see it is very narrow, it's very pretty and very busy.